100 facts about the FIFA World Cup. The first FIFA World Cup was held in Uruguay, in Montevideo, between the 13th and 30th of July 1930. 13 national teams participated. The first World Cup was won by Uruguay. They defeated Argentina 4-2 in the final. The final was hosted at Estadio Centenario, the stadium built for the tournament. In 1983, the Centenario Stadium was declared by FIFA as the first historical monument of world football. To this day, it is the only building to achieve this recognition worldwide. The first two World Cup matches took place simultaneously and were won by France and the United States, who defeated Mexico 4-1 and Belgium 3-0 respectively. The first ever World Cup goal was scored by French player Lucien Laurent on the 13th of July 1930 in a game against Mexico. The first hat-trick in the World Cup was scored by an American, Bert Patenaude, who scored a hat-trick on the 17th of July 1930 against Paraguay. Guillermo Stabile of Argentina was top scorer of that tournament with 8 goals. Uruguay is the smallest country to win the World Cup, with a population of 3.4 million. Uruguay have won the World Cup on 2 occasions, in 1930 and in 1950. The smallest country to qualify for the World Cup is Iceland, with a population of 350,000. They qualified for the 2018 World Cup. The biggest attendance at the World Cup was around 200,000 in the final of the 1950 World Cup between Brazil and Uruguay at the Maracana Stadium in Rio de Janeiro on the 16th of July. Uruguay won the game 2-1 to win their second title. The 1994 tournament in the United States had the highest average of attendance per match, with 68,991. Brazil has won the most World Cup titles in history with 5. They've won the World Cup in 1958, 1962, 1970, 1994 and in 2002. Germany have won the most medals at the World Cup. They've won 12 medals, 4 golds, 4 silvers and 4 bronze. Germany is also the team with most finishes in the top 2, 8. They are also a team with most second place and third place finishes. They finished 4 times on second and third place. Uruguay is the team with the most fourth place finishes. They've finished 4th 3 times. The only teams to have won the World Cup have come either from Europe or South America. Brazil is the only team to participate in all 22 World Cups. Italy and Brazil are the only 2 teams that have won consecutive World Cups. Italy in 1934 and 1938, and Brazil in 1958 and again in 1962. Italy also holds the record for the longest gap between successive titles, 44 years between 1938 and 1982. The record for the longest gap between successive appearances at the World Cup is held by Wales, 64 years between 1958 and 2022. Netherlands is the team with the most final appearances without ever being champion. They've lost the final 3 times, in 1974, 1978 and 2010. Scotland is a team that was eliminated in the first round the most times, 8. Brazil is a team with the most wins in the history of the World Cup, 76. Mexico is the team with the most losses in the history of the World Cup, with 28. They also hold a record for most eliminations in the round of 16, with 7. England is the team with the most draws, 22. Honduras is a team with most matches played without a win. They have drawn 3 and lost 6 matches. El Salvador is a team with most matches played without a point. They've lost all their 6 matches at the World Cups in 1970 and 1982. Brazil have scored the most goals in the history of the World Cup with 233. They also have the most goal scorers with 83. Hungary have scored the most goals in one tournament, with 27 at the 1954 World Cup. Germany conceded most goals in World Cup history, with 130. Switzerland is the only team that haven't conceded a goal in one tournament. in 2006. Only 4 teams in the history of the World Cup have never scored a single goal. These are China, Indonesia as Dutch East Indies, Trinidad and Tobago, and DR Congo as Zaire. Although Dutch East Indies have played only 1 game, while the others have played 3. Qatar in 2022 is the worst performing host team in the history, having lost all their 3 group matches and scoring just 1 goal. Azteca Stadium in Mexico City is the stadium that has hosted the most World Cup matches, with 19. 10 games in 1970 and 9 games in 1986. It is also one of 2 stadiums that hosted World Cup finals twice, the other being Maracana Stadium in Rio de Janeiro. Spain is a team with most consecutive successful qualification attempts. They've qualified 10 times from 1982 to 2022. On the other side, Luxembourg is a team with most consecutive failed qualification attempts, 21 times from 1934 until 2022. The biggest win in World Cup history is a 10-1 Hungary win against El Salvador at the 1982 World Cup. Hungary also won 9-0 against South Korea in 1954, and Yugoslavia won 9-0 against Zaire in 1974. Hungary's 10-1 win against El Salvador is also a record for most goals scored in a match by one team. Most goals scored in a match is 12, in a game between Austria and Switzerland in 1954. Austria won 7-5. 4-4 is a highest scoring draw result that occurred twice. In 1954 in a game between England and Belgium after extra time, and in 1962 in a game between Soviet Union and Colombia. A 1970 semi-final between Italy and West Germany called Game of the Century holds the record for most goals scored in extra time. There were 5 goals scored in extra time. After 90 minutes the score was 1-1, and the game finished in a 4-3 win for Italy. Argentina is the team that has played the most penalty shootouts in World Cup history, with 7. They have also won the most, with 6. Spain have lost the most penalty shootouts, with 4. Lionel Messi is the player who has played the most games at the World Cup, with 26 appearances. Pelé is the player who won the most World Cups, with 3, in 1958, 1962 and 1970. Cafu is the player with the most appearances in a World Cup final, with 3, in 1994, 1998 and 2002. The oldest player to play at the World Cup is Egyptian goalkeeper SM Al-Hadari, who was 45 years and 161 days old when he played at the 2018 World Cup against Saudi Arabia. The oldest player to play in a final is Dino Zoff. He was 40 years and 133 days old when he played for Italy against West Germany in the 1982 final. The youngest player to play at the World Cup is Northern Ireland's Norman Whiteside, who was just 17 years and 41 days old when he played at the 1982 World Cup against Yugoslavia. The youngest player to play in a final is Pelé. He was 17 years and 249 days old when he played against Sweden in the 1958 final. This video is sponsored by Goal of Fame. Get framed posters of your favourite goals. Use code TFC Stadiums for 10% off your order. Click the link in the description below. The all-time top goal scorer in World Cup history is Germany's Miroslav Klose, who scored 16 times. The record for most goals in a single tournament belongs to Frenchman Just Fontaine, who scored 13 goals at the 1958 tournament. The record for most goals in a single World Cup match is 5, scored by Russian Oleg Salenko against Cameroon at the 1994 tournament. Most goals scored in a World Cup final match is 3, by England's Geoff Hurst in 1966 against West Germany, and France's Kylian Mbappe in 2022 against Argentina. Kylian Mbappe is also the player with most goals scored in final matches, overall with 4. Cristiano Ronaldo is the only player to score at 5 different World Cups. The oldest goalscorer at the World Cup is Roger Milla, who was 42 years and 39 days old when he scored for Cameroon against Russia at the 1994 World Cup. The youngest goalscorer at the World Cup is Pelé, who was 17 years and 239 days old when he scored against Wales at the 1958 World Cup. Pelé is also the youngest goalscorer in the final, with 17 years and 249 days, scoring against Sweden at the same World Cup. In the same final, Sweden's Nils Lidholm scored a goal at the age of 35 years and 264 days, the record for oldest goalscorer in the final. The fastest goal in World Cup history was scored by Turkey's Hakan Şükür. He scored a goal in 11 seconds at the 2002 World Cup against South Korea. The fastest hat-trick in World Cup history was scored by Hungarian Laszlo Kiss, who scored a hat-trick in the space of 7 minutes and 42 seconds at the 1982 World Cup against El Salvador. His hat-trick is also the only by a substitute. The fastest goal in World Cup finals was scored by Dutchman Johan Neeskens in 90 seconds against West Germany in 1974. 3 players hold the record for most assists at the World Cup. Pelé, Maradona and Messi all have 8 assists. 5 players hold the record for most assists in a single tournament, with 5. Pelé, Robert Godocha, Pierre Littbarski, Diego Maradona and Thomas Hassler. The record for most assists in a single match is 4, by Robert Godocha from Poland in a match against Haiti in 1974. Peter Shilton from England and Fabien Barthez from France have a record for most clean sheets in World Cup history, with 10. Antonio Carbajal from Mexico and Mohamed El Dia from Saudi Arabia have conceded the most goals, with 25. South Korean Hong Deok-young has conceded the most goals in a single tournament, with 16 at the 1954 World Cup. American Tim Howard holds the record for most saves in a World Cup match with 16, against Belgium at the 2014 tournament. Italian Walter Zenga holds the record for most consecutive minutes without conceding a goal, 517 minutes at the 1990 World Cup. Luka Modric and Lionel Messi have scored the most goals in penalty shootouts, with 3. Harold Schumacher, Sergio Gochoya, Daniel Subasic and Dominik Livakovic have saved the most penalties in shootouts, with 4. Most penalties saved in a single shootout is 3, by Ricardo versus England in 2006, Daniel Subasic versus Denmark in 2018, and Dominik Livakovic versus Japan in 2022. The fastest yellow card was shown after 11 seconds to Mexican Jesus Gallardo in a game against Sweden in 2018. The fastest red card was shown after 56 seconds to Uruguayan Jose Batista in a game against Scotland in 1986. Javier Mascherano from Argentina has got the most cards in the history of the World Cup, with 7. The record for most sending-offs is 2, by Cameroonian Rigobert Song and Frenchman Zinedine Zidane. Brazil is a team with most red cards in World Cup history, with 11 from 97 games. Most yellow cards in a single World Cup game is 18, in a game between Netherlands and Argentina at the 2022 World Cup. Most red cards in a single game is 4, in a game between Portugal and Netherlands at the 2006 World Cup. Ravsham Irmatov from Uzbekistan has refereed the most games at the World Cup, with 11. The oldest referee at the World Cup is George Reader from England, who was 53 years and 236 days old at the tournament in 1950. The youngest referee at the World Cup game is Juan Gardiazabal from Spain, who was 24 years and 193 days at the 1958 tournament. West Germany's Helmut Schön is the coach who has coached the most matches with 25. He also won the most matches with 16. Italian Vittorio Pozzo is the only coach to win 2 World Cups. He won it with Italy in 1934 and in 1938. Carlos Alberto Pereira has coached at 6 different tournaments, the most of any coach, in 1982, 1990, 1994, 1998, 2006 and 2010. Bora Milutinovic from Serbia is the only coach to have coached at 5 consecutive tournaments: Mexico in 1986, Costa Rica in 1990, USA in 1994, Nigeria in 1998 and China in 2002. Luis Felipe Scolari from Brazil is the coach with most consecutive wins, 11. 7 wins with Brazil in 2002, and 4 with Portugal in 2006. The oldest coach at the World Cup is German Otto Rehhagel, who was 71 years and 317 days old when he coached Greece at the 2010 World Cup. The youngest coach is Argentine Juan José Tramutola, who was 27 years and 267 days old when he coached Argentina at the 1930 World Cup. Every World Cup winner has been won by a coach with the same nationality as the team they are coaching. 2 foreign coaches have finished second: Englishman George Rayner with Sweden in 1958 and Austrian Ernst Happel with Netherlands in 1978. Lionel Messi is the only player to have won 2 Golden Balls, in 2014 and 2022. At the 2010 World Cup in South Africa, 3 brothers, Johnny Palacios, Jerry Palacios and Wilson Palacios, played for Honduras. The most stadiums used at a single World Cup was 20, at the 2002 tournament in Japan and South Korea. The least stadiums used was 3 at the 1930 tournament in Uruguay. The highest attended World Cup was the 1994 tournament in the United States, with 3,594,042 spectators. The lowest attended World Cup was in 1934 in Italy, with 363,000 spectators. Morocco is the only African team to reach the World Cup semi-finals. They finished 4th at the 2022 tournament. The FIFA World Cup trophy was made by Stabilimento Artistico Bertoni, a company in Italy, and was introduced in 1974. It is made of 18-karat gold and stands at 36.8 centimeters high and weighs 6.175 kilograms. It is one of the most expensive trophies in sporting history, valued at $250,000. Before the FIFA World Cup trophy, the Jules Rimet trophy was used from 1930 to 1970. If you enjoyed this video, click the like button and subscribe for more football facts.